hill, Tampa Bay Real Producers, coming at you with another episode of our Tampa Bay Real Producer podcast. And this is the podcast made by real producers for real producers here in the Tampa Bay community. And we are fired up to have our guest today, Ms. Luz Colon. Good to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Those of you who don't know Luz yet, all you got to do is check out the February issue of Tampa Bay Real Producers, and you will see a spotlight of Luz Colon right there, our rising star for the February 2023 issue. So those of you who might not know, a rising star is a feature we do every month with a top producer who is licensed within their first 5 years of real estate. So it's obviously somebody who's hit the ground running, takes this business seriously and hasn't done what most agents have to do, which is to take many, many years to just get traction. You were able to figure out a way to get traction fast. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But why don't we just start with your background? Let people know a little bit more about you. And are you from Tampa Bay? What brought you to Tampa Bay? If not, let's start there.
So I'm actually born and raised. It's a rarity, but I was born and raised here.
A local yokel, huh?
Yes.
There we go.
And I actually lived in West Tampa, where the projects were at, across from Blake.
Okay.
And I've lived pretty much all over, but we grew up in a rough background. Yeah. Rough background, poverty. But we made it work. I always loved school. So I was like the teacher's pet all the time. I loved reading. I was a nerd. And for me, I was the first person to graduate in my family.
Oh.
High school. And so for me, that was very important, was no matter what I needed to do, I wanted to graduate.
Yeah.
We had hiccups. I come from an abused background. So my stepfather was physically, sexually, and verbally abusive towards me. And so I ended up in foster care. And I was there for about 3 years. I actually still talk to my third foster mom. She's like my godmom. She's actually my first transaction.
Is that right?
Full circle. I helped her buy her first, her
Now, was this during what years? How old were you when you were in foster care?
I was fifth grade, at the end of fifth grade. I didn't go into it. It was reported, right? And then by sixth grade, I was in a foster home, and then I didn't get out until about freshman year of high school.
Okay.
That was when I went to my mom's, and I actually got accepted to Blake because I sing. I love music. I love to dance, anything arts.
Wow. So you're not just a business champion. You got the artistic skill set too.
Yeah, you have to have a hobby, to stay sane. You got to sing it through it. So I was going to be like the singing realtor.
Was that one of the things that kind of got you through some of the tough parts, is just knowing that you had that voice and that was kind of a release for you?
It was. And I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. And so I was actually the only person in my family to go to church. So I would actually sing at church, go to church, and then I would come home and I would be getting abused and
it's horrible.
It is. It's very tough. But it's I would tell people, it's like your mind. I don't even know how to describe it as a kid. It's like a setting.
Yeah.
Your mind switches, survival mode, I guess. But nobody knew. And when I told people, they were just in shock, you know? So, but it took a lot of healing. It really did. Even in my marriage, I brought some things into my marriage because I hadn't fully healed, and my husband's been so patient.
It takes a lot of work to get through those things.
It does. And we've been married 14 years. We just celebrated, but it really was.
Which we met your husband at an event recently.
Yeah,
he was cool hanging out with us. And
yes, he's actually my media marketing person and my right-hand man.
Very cool.
Came up with the Atlas around the bag and the relax and let loose.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to be here, and he would have loved all this. But so it was, once I got into Blake and got to my mom's, I actually met my dad and got adopted, and the rest is history, which my dad got me into the business. He's in a
So you're a true overcomer.
Yes.
Yeah, that was that resilient gene that you had to show, I think, just to survive and to go through all the tough things that you had to do. I mean, it obviously has played a role in your success, I would say, in real estate, and I'm sure what's yet to come. Yeah. I think also you have 5 kids. Is that right? I know we have that in common.
Yeah. So our fifth was technically our niece. I think my husband told you got married in January, so she's out. military. He's a great man, high school sweethearts. And works at Gator Ford. His name's Dylan. So if you guys are looking in for a car, but he is a wonderful boy that
Shout
she
out
married.
Dylan Ford.
So she lived with us for 5 years.
Yeah.
And my husband walked her down the aisle.
Very
they
cool.
have a very father-daughter relationship. I'm still her aunt. My sister's in her life. It wasn't anything like that. She just loved being at home with us. She was the oldest rather than the baby. And so she liked that. And so then we have my 15-year-old, and he's a rebel, but he's very smart, but he's coming into his own. He's like girls and video games and then
Interesting age. My oldest is going to be 9 in April, so I still got some years to be able to get to those
Get
phases. But
yourself ready.
I can imagine what it's going to be like.
As soon as he got to middle school and high school, he was like, "What is this?"
Right, it's a whole new world.
So, and then I have my daughter. She's 11 going on 30 also. So
Wow.
prepare
So
yourself
you got your
for
hands
that.
full in a lot of ways.
And twins,
And
yeah.
you're running a profitable and successful business at the
It
same
is.
time. So
It's crazy. Our house is chaos.
Yeah, I can relate. Trust me, with the
3
newborn.
dogs, mother-in-law, twins. I mean, it's crazy.
We were in the same boat there. I got 5 kids and a newborn that's a month old now, so we got our hands full, without a doubt. And and I'm an only child, so this is all new to me. And in terms of figuring out the chaos, it is definitely chaos on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But so tell us a little bit more about your professional background. So how did you get into real estate in terms of, was that one of the first things you got into? Were you in a couple of other careers before real estate fell on your lap? Or let's talk a little bit about how that bridge happened.
Yeah. So I always wanted to teach. I actually was going to be a nurse. It was a crazy thing because my dad, who adopted me, he wanted me to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor. I obviously had the grades for it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to go to Harvard. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to leave my family.
Right.
And I was in an abusive relationship before my husband. I was with him for 7 years. He's actually our son, my first, the 15-year-old. My husband legally adopted him when he was 2.
Okay.
And so he was out of our life. So I didn't want to leave. He had me kind of thinking I couldn't make it.
Still dealing with some of those psychological
and he
demons.
was my first boyfriend, my first, 7 years, and I didn't want to leave. And we'd break up and I'd try to leave. And it was just a lot of unhealthy stuff. And then finally, when I had my son at 8 months, he was 8 months old. I said, I can't do this anymore. He changed me, and I left him when my son was, our son was 8 months old. And so,
You're saying your son changed you? There was something about that?
just once his birth, I mean, being a mom, I don't want to live this life anymore. I want to be a family, and this isn't healthy. And kids know when you're in you're literally grooming your kids to think it's okay for abuse or for you to be unhappy, and they can tell.
Yeah.
And
they pick up so much more than you realize.
They do. And I did not want to repeat that. So I worked at the bank. I worked at Bank of America, actually, on Gandy. And I worked at Suncoast, then GTE. Then I went to Bank of America while I was with my husband. I actually temporarily, so I could be home with my son, did part-time at Music Showcase because I love music. And but I needed to go get a job. We were struggling. So I worked at Bank of America for 3 years.
Okay.
Had our daughter. And then went to HSBC, worked in mortgages, bankruptcy there.
Okay.
Then went to Citi, then Capital One.
So that was kind of your first into the real estate realm, was the mortgage industry.
Yeah, but then I went back to banking. I was like, I love banking. So went to USAA, got into 2 accidents, really bad accidents. And it just traumatized me. And so I did teaching. I went back to what I always wanted to do as a girl. And I said, I'm going to go teach. And I taught at Marshall Middle. And then I got into, actually it was the 1 accident, then I got into the 2nd accident, and I had to leave right at the end of the school year. And I just stayed home with my kids. And my dad is like, you're struggling. I was tutoring. I was doing homeschool mom and making money that way, shipped. And my dad was like, I get that you're loving to be at home, but you need to help Will.
Right.
My husband was a surgical tech at the time. And he was like, like, you should do this. And so he actually tried talking into it 4.5 years ago.
So your dad was the one who brought up, he thought you'd be a good agent. What was it about real estate that he thought it was the right fit for you?
He just felt like, he's like, you're intelligent. And he goes, there are people who are not intelligent that do this business.
We all know those agents.
He was like, I met these girls that were just like not understanding what real estate was.
Yeah.
And he's like, and it was a $3 million house.
Yeah.
He's like, you could do this in your sleep. And he's like,
that's
and you
so
actually
true
protect
too.
your clients. He goes, I know that you could read contracts. I know that you can handle the stress of it, and you could still be home. And I told him, no, I don't want to do it. 4.5 years ago. And he's like, I'll pay for your schooling. Like, just please. So then they had a friend at the time, and my dad met up with me at dinner 3.5 years ago, and they were like, you really need to do this.
Wow.
Like, you could.
Sounds
totally
like they had a little intervention. We're like,
did.
we got to talk you into
pinned me in a corner,
changing your life right now.
Yeah, man. They treated me like baby. They put me in a corner. And,
so you were pretty resistant to wanting to get into real estate.
I did, because I saw how stressful it could be. And I honestly, it was doubt. I didn't think I'd make it. I see a lot of people who struggle in it. I talk to people, and I just didn't think I could do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
But they convinced you.
Yeah, they did. They were like, you totally can. And your presence. And
so that was about 3.5 years ago, you said? And so after that intervention, you went out and you got licensed, took your test, got everything going. And was it just like rainbows and butterflies from day one, or?
No.
Yeah.
So my first transaction, I got my license in August. I closed September 30th, was my godmother. And that was the only reason why. It was because
she was hooking you up.
And well, the funny thing is, she had an agent already.
Okay.
And she told her agent who sold her house, my daughter just got her license. I'm so sorry, you can't be my buyer's agent.
Gotcha.
You sold my house. She didn't get to sell it.
Yeah.
So and the agent was fine. We're all believers here. For me, I've always felt, when I said, if I'm going to do this real estate thing, I'm going to bring on lenders, I'm going to have my team, but there's enough money to go around for everybody.
Amen.
And I believe this on my team now, I'm starting a team now, and whether I'm going to take you to the top with me. Like, that's how I see it. And if you don't want to join my team, that's okay. I'll send you referrals, whatever.
Right.
That's my friend who was with me last night. She helps me. We help each other out. So, I feel like women don't support each other enough, or just realtors in general. And I think that's a vibe for me.
Well, I talked about it at our gala last night. We had our second annual Agents Choice Awards last night. Luz was there. We had about 300 agents hang out at the vault last night here in downtown Tampa. And one of the things I did talk about was the mentality of cooperation versus competition, right?
Yeah.
And I think culturally, that's one of the things that we really believe in with Real Producers. It's why we try to bring Real Producers together at events like last night to collaborate. And, the more and more that I do these interviews, I realize how common that thought process really is with the top producers. And it's funny, with the people who are not top producers, at least from my experience, those are the ones who seem to view everything more under the competition realm rather than the cooperation realm. It's so funny how that works. But the image from the outside is like real estate is cutthroat, and you have to be.
And that's what I thought. Yeah. I was like, how am I little me? I'm like, I literally am like joy all the time. Like, this is me. Do I have rough moments? Absolutely. But I'm a bubbly person. So here I am being all bubbly. And if it wasn't for my work mom, Monica, I would not be where I am today. And a few people, at my brokerage, but I was alone. I was getting those leads, $60,000 houses, and I would drive to Spring Hill and nothing would come out of it. I would show 10 houses. And I mean, it was grit. But like I said, that one transaction propelled me to keep going and moving forward. I didn't have another closing till December. And it was like a $60,000 closing. I made like 30% of the commission because it was a referral from my brokerage in Op City.
Right.
So, but even in that, I tell people, like, it's tough. You have to be able to really live on nothing and work 40 to 60 hours, act like it's your full-time job and not get a check.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to build. And I just kept building that pipeline. And then by my first 18 months, I got Rookie of the Year. I sold 7.8 million.
So in your first 18 months, you did about 7.8. And you remember how many transactions that was?
I do not. I think it was around 30-ish.
I know I looked at your numbers from last year, from what we featured you in the magazine. And in 2022, the calendar year, I believe, 2022, you did just over 15 million. I think it was like 15.7.
And off market, I think it was like 17. So when I have a printout, because I actually was, I got not rep last year, top 250 agents.
Yep.
I was running for it again to get awarded. And I had to give them a sheet and they printed it out, and it was
no doubt. We always just see the MLS stuff, but
it
no
was
doubt.
like new homes, we forget to track that, but I couldn't believe
it was over 50 transactions. I think it was like 55 transactions that I saw on the list. So what are some thoughts you would have, Luz, for people that, maybe will watch this episode who are newer, or even maybe just thinking of getting into real estate for the first time? And, if they're afraid of it, kind of one of the things you said, as far as knowing it's going to be tough to get in and what it's going to look like to build that business and to be patient. What are some things that you think either you would have done differently if you had to do it over again, specifically in your first year? Okay. Or that you feel like you did really well and you're glad you did, and you would replicate and teach that to anybody else if they were brand new and trying to get that first year going. Has anything come to mind that you think would be valuable to share?
Yeah, actually. So that's a very good question, loaded question. So the first year, I actually think I did everything right. After my 18 months, though, I started a team and I grew the Starlight Group, which I grew too fast, too quick, and it crumbled. I didn't do it right. Didn't get an admin first, which is right now, I'm at Keller and I'm learning the process of how you want to start a team.
Yeah.
And for me, it was out with the old, so now it's going to be the Hivix group. Hives, bees work hard, oxes too. So I want to do we work hard to get you home, and my husband was like, no, too cheesy. So we don't have a thing yet, but the Starlight Group, I started too fast, too quickly. 7 agents, and I lost a lot. I lost my best friend. I lost because I was just trying to take everybody up with me, and not everybody is going to mend with your personality, and it was just crazy. So highs and lows.
So the lesson you learned from that was just starting a team too quickly, do you think?
Yes. Yeah. So I would say that I worked my tail off for those 18 months. So I think I did that right. And I picked a good, strong brokerage that had my back. I will say I was at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And like I said, my work mom pushed me.
Yeah.
She teaches and leads like a boot camp. I can convert the toughest of leads because of her.
Yep.
And that's how I built my business. And I would not be, like I said, where I am. And so I worked my tail off. But then after that, I was like trying to bring everybody with me, and I built a team, like I said, too fast, too quick. And then, my friend, like for example, my friend who was with me last night, she would call me and I'm like, where is your broker? She goes, I never even met my broker. She just went somewhere that was 100%. So don't think that you go to a brokerage that's 100%, you're by yourself. And I told her, I said, I don't mind you calling me. I love you, but what if I can't talk to you one day? This is a contract. If you miss something, you could literally cost your customer thousands.
Yep.
And so she really realized that. And so she's at Berkshire now. But
by the way, that's a great lesson right there. It's just the idea. We talk a lot actually on this podcast about the importance of mentorship, right? Especially for new people. Like that was one of the first things I would do if I was getting licensed today. It was, who am I going to be mentored by? Right? How am I going to do that? And sometimes we look at it through the lens of commissions and say, well, why would I not just go for a broker that's going to pay me 100% versus one that's going to be a different split? But the reality is like there's a reason why there's a different split, because they know they're providing value, right?
Yes.
And if you're just learning this business, I would rather have a smaller piece of a larger pie than 100% of nothing. Right?
Exactly.
And ultimately, even more important than the money is just what you learn in that process of growing your business. So it sounds like Berkshire was a great landing spot for you to be able to get that foundation, and it sounds like you had a great mentor who helped push you along the way. I think that's a great, tip for anybody who's trying to figure it out.
You look at Remax, you look at Keller Williams, you look at Berkshire, you look at these big, we call them corporate brokerages. But if you look at their training, when you come in as a new agent, they have some really good training and mentorship programs that these little boutique brokerages do not have. Now, I'm not saying anything negative about them, because I have seen some wonderful boutique brokerages that do take you along, they come alongside you. But more often than not, I have my dad's good friend did the same thing, went with a friend who's a broker, and she felt lost too.
Yeah.
And then she would do open houses for agents. She would stage the houses. These agents were using her, and she would get a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and she felt alone. And there were times that I felt alone. Like I would have to go vent to my work mom. And so, do you want to be a part of a team? That was another thing too that you have to ask yourself. I knew personally I didn't want to be on a team. I wanted to build something that was mine and my brand.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I used someone as a team leader, cause they always tell you this I always told my team, if you take everything from me and you go and do your own thing and it doesn't work out, for me in the biblical background, you reach, teach, send. So I actually would not feel like you used me. I'd be proud of you, because if you want to make something of yourself, do that. But I was always told that in the brokerage world or in the real estate world, when you leave your team leader, sometimes they think that you use them. And so I didn't want to be seen as if I was using my team leader, because I knew that ultimately I wanted to make something of myself.
Yeah, we've shared this thought before, but I had a mentor once who taught me, based on what you just said, this principle that would you rather train your people and then have them leave, which is generally going to happen as people have to find their own path, right? And find their own opportunities. But if you really think about it, would you rather train them and have them leave, or not train them and have them stay? Right, because that's even worse to have people that you are just not investing in. Yeah. It's like that hurts the brand, right? At the end of the day. So I mean, I think if you really have an abundant mentality versus that scarcity mindset, as any good leader should have, you should be willing to give it and you know, invest. And it really is investment into your people. So it sounds like as a team leader, you're in the process of building it. Has that from the beginning been a vision for you, is wanting to build a team? That's just been kind of the way you've looked at this business?
Yeah. Mentoring, coaching. I was a teacher. I mean, naturally, that's what I always loved doing. I also tutored. I have Starlight Tutors that eventually I want to bring back, like have tutors that work for, I love it. It's something that I always go back to. And I miss my kids actually. And, so I want to do it with real estate. And I realized that like real estate, actually, you don't just have to sell. You could be a coach, you could be a mentor, you could speak, you could do podcasts, you could be an admin, you could be a transaction coordinator. I mean, there's just so much that I can take all my talents. And so that's what I want to do. So I want to build a team, but I do want to start coaching, mentoring, maybe going around the world and speaking and just showing people that they can really live out their dreams. And I'm a strong believer in that. And there was actually a point where I doubted myself. And recently I realized that I was the one that I'm holding myself back.
That's cool.
And I have, if other people can.
What was that point? Was there a moment of decision that you remember that really was a distinctive moment that made you be like, all right, I am doubting myself and it's time for a change? Like, is there a story behind that?
I recently switched over to Keller Williams, and I went to family reunion, and I get goosebumps and just tears come. I heard Ed Milet speak, and I was already learning a lot. And it was funny because I actually did a motivational video before I heard him speak. And I was telling people to not hold back, because I was already starting to realize that, like, wow, there is so much possibility in real estate. And I was just here thinking I was just a salesperson. Yeah. And I know my clients tell me all the time that I touch their lives, but they're just, it becomes just a routine, right? And so I was like, I want to break from my routine. I want to do something different. And when I heard him speak and talk about his story and just how the power of one more and pushing through and just hearing his background and hearing how he fought through, I was like, all right, this is it. I'm in. I can do this. Yeah. And it's not because I want money or fame. I want to inspire. And if I could be a change, even if it's just handing the keys, I was the first person. We were the first people in our family to buy a house. Right. If we didn't buy that home, we would not be financially where we are now, my husband and I. It literally changed us. And we both grew up poor. And we were always taught a poverty mindset of renting. To rent is better than buying.
Safer,
and
right?
It's safer,
Right.
exactly. And so it was just, I want to go out there and teach that. I don't think that we teach it enough. And being a minority also, like I want to go out there and train agents and coach them and have them really, I think real estate can change people's lives, and I think that it's better than stocks personally, and you're not gambling. This is something that if you look at years, it's something great. So I think that that's what I want to do. I want to coach, I want to mentor, and so right now I'm starting with the team, but eventually that's what I want to do.
Well, I can sense your passion from here, just in terms of when you talk about it, you light up and you can see the energy behind it. I love that. So you've had various other careers and jobs. Like, what is it specifically about real estate, do you think, that you have found that you've been able to tap into that makes it so rewarding for you? Why is this the path? You
could just do everything. Like I said, I went to family reunion. I saw that they have university coaching. You can train to, and I took, when I was at Berkshire, we did a ninja course, and that fired me up too. And ninja, but they go around and they coach, and there's just so much that you can do. So as the teacher inside me, I can still do that. I can bring up agents. I can, run an office. I can, it's just so much that you can do.
There's a path for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like, let's say you're a person who is artistic, right? And you just aren't making money in the artistic realm. Do you know that in real estate you can make money? You can become a marketing, photography, draw logos for realtors, or find that niche and just stay with it. At family reunion, they actually had an artist illustrating everything that was there, and he was literally there drawing on a board, and they had a painter. And I mean, there's just so many things that you can do. My husband is now a full-time photographer, does marketing, does logos, he does all my listing photos, does other agents listing.
So you guys are in business together, basically.
Oh, now we are. Yeah. This business has been able to do that.
Yeah.
So you use real estate to fund a dream. And I heard that a long time ago, and I didn't really realize it until my husband was able to do this full time, and now we're working together. And one of the things that we want to do now with the Hybix Group is actually invest in real estate. That was one thing that I just started learning by reading Gary Keller's book.
The One Thing?
No, that's at my Just Power One More. But no, I'm reading MREA, and then I want to read MREI, which is the investor portion. So I'm reading that MREA because that millionaire real estate agent, because that's going to teach me about team building. And then there is actually one that's millionaire
real estate investor.
Yeah, investor. Thank you. Geez. And then so I'm trying to do things, like I said, right this time. So that's something that him and I want to do.
Are you a Rich Dad, Poor Dad fan?
I have not read it. Everybody's like, Luz, get on board.
That was one of the first books I've read when I was 18 that got me excited about real estate, because from an investing standpoint. And I've actually been more focused over the years on the investment side than I have been on the residential, just licensed agent side. Yeah, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad that kind of got me into that whole realm, just teaching me what a true asset versus liability is, and changing my whole mindset on why real estate is such a great investment. That was kind of the beginning of my journey, I would say.
And I think that actually that's important, because even I would say top producers would say that they read and they watch videos, listen to podcasts. That's actually a mistake also. I would say that now that you brought that up, getting into real estate, not having my PA set up, my S Corp, I didn't set it up until the second year because I didn't know. I thought it could be self-employed, which, having a budget.
Then you're all liable for everything.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And no tax breaks.
For real, right. Exactly. But also having a budget, having a plan.
Yeah.
I overspent. I'm going to be very honest with you. My marketing, I remember talking to an agent. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to see if I could fit that in my marketing budget. And I heard her say that. And I was like, wait,
You have a budget?
You have a budget? I was just paying for leads and paying for, and then you also have to wean out, because as a new realtor, you get all these calls and emails, and I still get them constantly. Hey guys, leads. Buy this program. Send out this mailer. And there's all these programs, and you will literally get bombarded, and you're like, which one works and which one do I do?
Right.
So I would say that too, like, be careful with that and really try to create a plan, which being at the right brokerage, they'll teach you to create a plan and stuff like that.
And then I have like a specific strategy, ideally one that you can stay committed to, right? And work through. And I don't know if you had, or you landed on any one thing particularly, or maybe you had multiple, but was there kind of a main source, you would say, or a main strategy that helped fuel your business? Is there something that comes to mind there?
I honestly, so I didn't have a big sphere. I told you from my background, I mean, I had people from church and things like that, but I didn't know where to start, where to begin, how to put myself out there. I was making videos. I say a lot. I was, but I didn't care. And I'm raw and real in my videos. I will literally.
Which is more attractive anyway.
For real. So that's how I've made my business, is by being raw and real. And I tell people, like, I'll do professional videos. You'll see them. My husband will edit them. But there are times I'm in my office and I'm like, hey guys, And so, I will say videos. I will say leads.
So just social media promo.
Social media.
Organic content.
Yep. And being me. Like, people, they watch reality shows, right, to think that it's real. I still don't think some reality shows are real. But I learned that if I'm my authentic self, people will like that. They don't think that I'm just trying to make commission off of them. Yeah. And the money will come. I didn't think about, like, I got to make this dollar. I got to make this closing. I got to do this. I got to do that. Because people will see that. If you start becoming money hungry in this business, people will see right through you, and you're not going to make any money. Yep. It'll backfire. Yeah.
People don't like that commission breath.
They don't. They don't. And I mean, I've actually seen agents that I've heard that some agents have done well with it because of their confidence. I personally don't. I wouldn't advise that. Yeah. It works for some, but I personally wouldn't advise it, because I've also seen on their high horse them fall flat on their face. Right. So I would say leads. I told you I would convert the toughest of leads. I was consistent in my follow-up. My follow-up game is, man, let me tell you.
That's huge. Because most people are horrible at that.
You got to stay top of mind. And that was one of the things I learned, was follow-up. Literally, I heard it like all the time. And my work, like I'm telling you, Monica taught me follow-up. And that's where all these difficult leads, they would come back. And I would get a lead that I'd been working on for a year and a half. And they'd come and say, hey, Luz, help me buy a house.
There you go.
I have people that I've worked 2 years. Yeah, I'm very relational. I'm not transactional. So I tell them, look, you don't buy from me now. You buy from me in 2 years. Right. You send me a referral. That's like the best compliment. I'm okay.
There's this whole paradigm that I teach sometimes, like the A to Z marketing paradigm, which is all about follow-up. And it's the concept that every single person that's out there is on this paradigm somewhere, right? From A to Z. A is the coldest lead you could possibly have because they just bought a home, closed yesterday. And Z is like they're Googling you and like, I need to buy a house yesterday, right? So you got all that. And most of us, of course, are somewhere in the middle. And then the reality is most agents don't have systems set up so that if they talk to someone who's at a C or D phase, they are not in front of them, like you said, top of mind. So when that person becomes an X or a Z, you are one of the people they think of. And you got to keep moving them along the path to eventually they get there.
How many realtors do we have in Florida right now?
Well, we had over 15,000 that did at least one deal. There's more than that are licensed, but about 15,000 that did one deal last year, at least one deal last year. And to be in the top 500, to do over 50 deals, I mean, it shows that you've really distinguished yourself among the best.
Yeah, but we have to, because look at all that competition, because even the one person they got the one deal. Right. But I mean, I went to a dental office.
Like their next door neighbor or their parents or something.
Exactly. Right. I went to the dental office and the hygienist and the dentist were licensed. Right. And they do it for their own transactions and for their friends. Right. So it's like, wow, they could have gone with somebody else. And that's why you have to stay top of mind, because I heard that for every one person, they know about 8 to 12 realtors. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I would say that. I would say if you don't have a sphere, you don't know where to start, I would say leads. I know they tell you to obviously do sphere of influence and to attack that and stay top of mind. Farming has been good for me as well. Cool. But those were my main things, I would say.
One of the things we always talk about on this podcast is just what you think one of your biggest challenges were. And we might have already touched on it. You mentioned the team building, how that was too quick and that fell apart on you. And if that's the case, we can move on. But I was just curious, was there anything else that comes to mind that you would identify as one of the biggest challenges that you went through in this experience of building your real estate team, your business? Any big lesson that you feel like you learned from it? Or would you say it's the team building thing we already discussed?
Honestly, another thing I would say time management.
Okay.
Like I told you, our house is chaos, and I mean now we're honing in, and we created a schedule. But I will say that when I started, I would take calls at 10 o'clock at night. I would be on the phone for hours. Time blocking has become crucial in my life.
That's a great tip,
and
too.
It's something that I learned late, and my kids appreciate that I work and provide, and took us out of being a struggling family to being able to go to karate and do things like that. Now that I'm proud, I can now say I can go to their karates. But there were some meets I didn't make too, and there were some times that, and even still, I used to try to take Sundays off, but that market right now, some of my clients that I have right now, I need to work on Sunday, but I balance it out because I didn't used to balance it. I would just work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm working this Sunday, but Saturday I'm going to go to the movies with my family.
Right.
So I've been learning to time block and manage it and tell people like, hey, I have a gala. Like I told people last night, I won't be I have a gala. I can't show this house, but I could show it to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I can have a buddy of mine show it to you. So I would say that is that a lot of people, one of the pressures that I had was being a working mom and failing. And a lot of people judged me. And you will have that. People that see you building and they'll judge you and say you're a workaholic.
There's a lot of haters out there.
You're a bad mom.
Right.
And I had to get past that. And they were right to some extent. I'm not a bad mom, but they were right as to the workaholic. And so, but instead of coming alongside me, like how my leader said, Luz, have you heard about time blocking? And also picking one. Like she would tell me, how are you going to have a paper planner and there were things that I would miss out of here and not put in the paper planner.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to manage my time. So I'm old school. I like the paper planner, but I let that go because this is always attached to me.
Right.
So, but instead of coming alongside me, they judged me. So I would say I would believe the lie of people and the enemy and judging. So don't do that. I would say time blocking.
And it really is a lie.
It really, I mean,
Those self-doubts that sometimes are brought on to you by other people, as you said, it's just a myth. It is. And it's if you start believing it, you can make it true for yourself and you start living it. But the reality is that any single person that's listening to this can be great in this industry if they really surround themselves with the right people, learn some of the tools that are needed, such as time blocking, which is such a critical tool to be successful really in any business, but real estate's no different. And protecting, the things that are really important, because 7 days a week of work is just not sustainable. I mean, even God had to rest on day 7, right?
And that's what my husband would say. He's like, can we start taking Sundays off, please? Like, you're just like working a lot. And like I said, it did tear us apart sometimes.
Yeah.
And I realized it. And I mean, of course I missed my kids, but I'm like, I'm providing for them. They see mom's putting food on the table.
Right.
And I was, wanting to help my husband out because I saw him working hard on his feet all day and I wanted him to live out his dream too. And he supported me. I mean, even when he would be working on his feet all day, he'd go and pick up the kids, cook. I mean, that man, it's crazy. And so I wanted to, not retire him, but I wanted him to live his dream because I saw how hard he was supporting me. And so now we're able to do it together and we're a team, and
awesome.
He does still do most of the cooking. He's such a great cook. But
he's a keeper. My wife's the cook at our house. That's not my specialty.
I did my time. I did my duty. I breastfed our children. It's your turn to cook, but he loves cooking, so it's okay. And he's a grill master. So yeah, but he, we tend to feed off of each other, and we're learning as a family. Even like there was things that I wouldn't trade off to the kids, so now they have chores, and so we're learning everything.
By the way, is that dynamic sometimes a challenge? The fact that your husband is kind of also a business partner, it sounds like in many ways, has that created any sort of challenges in terms of that dynamic, or has it actually just enhanced the relationship?
Honestly, everybody asks us that. Like, has it hurt us? Our first few years were rough. And so we're like, man, this is just a breeze.
Yeah.
And we actually, around our 10-year anniversary, we hit a rough patch, almost divorced. This was actually before I was in real estate. But it was because we were losing sight of the important things of family. We were actually over serving in church. We weren't time blocking. And we learned that, and that was one of the things that we do now. We time block, we spend time with each other, and honestly, him and I get along. We joke like, oh, we want to kill each other all the time, but it's really not that. Like, he'll be like, oh, babe, I missed you today. Like, when we don't work together, he's like, babe, I missed you today, and I'll be like, you didn't miss this crazy person. But we keep things interesting. We're opposite. So it was funny because a good friend of mine, she actually has seen me grow, and she's been in my life a very long time. Patricia Bradford, she was on my team, and now she's an attorney, so she's not on the team anymore. But she was one of the members, and she was building real estate to become an attorney, a probate attorney, and she did. She's doing great now, and I would refer her to anybody. She was like, when I saw you at the party mingling, she's like, Willie is like your anchor. You're like this, and he is your anchor. He keeps you anchored down. He is opposite of you, but we get along very well. Yeah. And we actually don't get tired of each other. I know some husband and wife team, they don't operate like that. I love it a lot. I really do. Like, he's my best friend.
Yeah, you see sometimes where it actually causes some friction about business decisions, right? That then can easily be rolled over into like the personal lives, since you're living with your business partner. Versus, I also have seen and understand why it can bring couples closer together, right?
Yeah,
because you're working towards a common vision and a common goal, and
exactly
supporting each other that way.
Like for me, I wanted the Starlight Group to start over again, and he actually made a good point. And he's like, out with the old, in with the new. And my friend said the same thing. And several people said that. They were like, now you're building this with your husband. Yeah. When you built the Starlight Group, it was you by yourself. Right. You're building a team. And he wasn't in real estate. He was just helping you out. He was going to do the photography and marketing and things like that. But now we're doing this together. Yep. And he actually came up with the name. And so I had to say, you know what? He's my partner. Why would I not involve him in naming it? And it's actually a good name. I like it. It's not after myself. It's not after himself. Mm-hmm. It's something that's together. Yep. And we have conflicts. Like the admin thing, oh man, we got into a couple tissy fits with that because he was like, well, what does an admin do? And why are we going to spend money? And then when he went to family reunion with me, they actually had classes for it. And he's like, oh my God, we need an admin. Right. I was like, thank you, Jesus. I've been saying this the whole time.
I know. It's always funny how when hearing from someone else, now all of a sudden it's a good idea. Right?
Really?
Yes.
Like,
yes, that's right. That's right.
And how many people told us? Because there were other people that told us too. But oh my Lord. But we have, of course, those arguments. We're not perfect. Right. And, but honestly, we have our foundation in Christ. One thing I actually did like about Keller is God family business. Yep. And that's why and I'm actually learning more about time blocking, and I'm learning more about, like I said, importance and balance. And so, we've had in these 3.5 years, it's been like this, but I've actually gotten to a point I can say now that
you could see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, we're getting to our 5-year plan.
So we're going to come to a close here with our episode, but a couple like rapid fire questions, usually just some quick answers just to let the audience get to know you a little bit more.
All right.
Do you have a favorite book or seminar or author or maybe an event that you've attended? Anything that you feel like has been highly influential in your thought process?
So I'm excited to read The Power One More, but I would say Mitch Albom. I Midnight Library is another book that will inspire you. And these are like fiction books, but I like to read. I'm a nerd. I like superhero. Like, I'm just quirky. So I would just, it doesn't have to always be real estate.
No,
I like to keep things interesting.
You're a fiction reader, huh?
Sci-fi too, sometimes romance. I'm actually eclectic with my music. I could go from Aerosmith to Etta James. It's the same with books. Yeah. So yeah.
Very cool. I love it. Yeah. And it allows your brain to kind of get really creative sometimes when you're going through the fiction stories, and allows you to dream a little bit too. Yeah. Favorite food?
Ooh, I'm
You
Hispanic.
mentioned your husband's a good cook, so.
Yes. Oh man, I love Italian and Spanish. I'm in Puerto Rican, so I go to Puerto Rico, and of course that's my favorite food. You can't get food like.
Did you live in Puerto Rico?
I did not.
Okay.
But I've gone to visit. I have family over there.
Yep.
But I'm a big
I love
foodie.
going to Puerto Rico. My buddy has a restaurant down there, and just
man.
driving through the streets into the country area and seeing all the people on the side of the roads when they roast the pigs right on the side of the streets.
Oh, I'm so
I
hungry.
would pull right over, get myself some pig right off the
yes.
stick. I mean,
Yes.
come on now. That's some good
Literally.
stuff.
You'll have to give me his name so I can tell my family to go support him. And when I go, but I love.
He's in Old San Juan.
Yeah, I love supporting local businesses, and I made my business doing that now. I love supporting local and small businesses, but I'm a foodie, so I really can't say I will literally eat I will eat sushi, pho. I mean, I'm just.
You got it all, huh? Favorite movie?
We were big Twilight fans, but no, on a serious note, I would say I like Midnight in Paris. I like
Midnight in Paris. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
yeah, it's he's like he is about to get married, or like he's engaged or something, and then he realizes that he's not living his full potential of his life because he meets like Dolly, and he goes back to another era, and he meets Ernest Hemingway and
Ernest Hemingway.
yeah, things like that.
I think you can learn a few things from good old Ernest. That makes sense.
So it was a really cool movie. My dad actually likes that movie a lot too.
I think you mentioned Passion of the Christ as well as one you were a fan
yeah.
of.
So I would say, not to sound cheesy or cliche, I would say Passion of the Christ, though. Like, you literally, doesn't matter where you come from, you just are moved by
can't
that
watch
movie.
that and not be
yeah,
moved.
seriously.
Yeah, no doubt. The sacrifice is right in front of your face.
Yeah, literally. And Beautiful Life. I would say, things like that. Like,
Got you.
I love movies a lot.
Last question, and this is one of my favorites because I think it makes people think, and I think a lot of times we don't take the time to think. So this question revolves around the idea of your legacy and what you would want to be known for as you think about whether it's your business, personally. We all come to a point in time where maybe you retire and you just kind of sit on the rocking chair and think back to what you're excited about, what you're proud of. So if you had to explain what you would want your legacy to be, I know you have 5 kids, and to me, that's always part of your legacy, of course, is what you want to, how you want them to grow up and what they want to, how you want them to think of you when years from now. So ultimately, what would be the most important thing to you, Luz, when it comes to your legacy and what you want to be known for?
Being light, being kind. I've been poured into by so many people who gave their time, their money, their efforts. And I say money because, I had a teacher that bought me this beautiful, I didn't have a Sunday dress. I told you I grew up poor, and I used to get made fun of my looks and clothes and things like that. And, she bought me this dress, and I will always remember her name. I'll always remember the color of the dress was pink, and I felt like a princess. And, I kept that dress for a very long time. It was just being kind, being light. I want my kids to know that, you can achieve your dreams and you can do whatever you put your mind to, but not actually like think it, like actually do it. And I want to build my wealth to help others. I think that we have to be kingdom minded, a kingdom work. There's people out there in this world that need it, and I want to be a blessing and bless others. And I really mean that, because like I said, I would not be here if that didn't happen. So I kind of want to pay it forward. And so that's what I'm working towards now, so that I can do it the right way and the honest way too.
It's so funny how sometimes we can just do what we would consider to be these insignificant acts of kindness. But like you described the woman who gave you the dress, and it's like maybe to her it wasn't a big deal. It's like she just saw a need and bought you a dress, but that was years ago, and it still impacts you. I can see you getting emotional even just thinking about it, right?
It is.
It's
just
bringing it up.
It's just, I think about my life and just how I've been here and everything that I've been through, and just those moments like where you think you're insignificant, you get reminded that you're somebody, and that you're loved, and that there are good people in the world. And I remember having a conversation with my adopted sister. She's like, yeah, no, we're not going to have any more kids because this world is just crazy. And we don't want to bring them into that. And I'm like, well, there is craziness, and bad stuff in the world, but there's a lot of good.
Right.
And you just teach that child to love, and you just show them, you know, to love people and to love God, and to just, I think that that's important. And I think that a lot of people out there are just hurt, and hurt people hurt people.
Wow.
So for me, I had to heal, and I had to not project my hurt onto those, and just be joy. And
amen. You're preaching now, Luz. I love it. I'm fine. I mean, the only time that darkness reigns is when there's an absence of light, right?
Yeah.
And so ultimately, I mean, that's a defeatist mentality to think that you wouldn't want to make a difference, and obviously you are. And so I hope everybody that got a chance to check out this episode, you know, was inspired. I know I was. You have a very, very inspiring story, and being able to tell that, and being vulnerable enough to be open and honest about some of the challenges that you went through growing up. I'm sure there are some people that can relate to that in different ways. And, you know, you are truly an overcomer. And so it's exciting to see how far you've come, the business you've built, the life you now have, how passionate you are about that life. You know, glow and your eyes twinkle when you talk about it. So it was an honor and really a pleasure to have you here today on this episode. And I'm sure you'll be seeing Luz and her team, that brand, HiveX, HIVOX.
We work hard.
The HiveX squad, the HiveX team is going to be out and about all over the Tampa Bay market for years to come. I'm sure you'll be seeing that brand blowing up, and be checking out Luz Colon as she builds her legacy for many, many years. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It really was our pleasure. It was awesome to hear your story. And guys, Tampa Bay Real Producer Podcast, once again coming at you as the podcast for real producers, by real producers. And I hope you were inspired today by Luz's story. We'll have more episodes to come. Go ahead and subscribe, of course, on YouTube, and follow us on social media. And thanks one more time, Luz, for being here. You're a rock star.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Later, guys. We'll check you later.